If you're frustrated with the extra fat that you're storing around your midsection in your belly and your lower back, especially in your love handles, don't worry, I've had those too. My name is Matteo and I've lost 50 pounds now twice in my life, and I've spent the last 8 years helping guys lose weight and get themselves in shape with a simplified approach. And over that time, the lower back fat, or the love handles, or the mac and cheese as I like to call it, has been a recurring character that just keeps coming up, both personally in my own fitness journey and with the guys that I work with. So today I'm going to share with you the 2 reasons why it's so difficult to lose fat from your lower back. I'm going to show you how you can actually do it for yourself using a combination of training and nutrition. And I'm going to share with you one big trade-off that comes along with losing your lower back fat to help you decide if it's even worth it for you. The first reason why losing your love handles is so hard is because most guys have a misconception about spot reduction. They think that they can lose body fat selectively from certain areas of their body. As you can see me demonstrating with this bucket of water, it's impossible for me to pull some water selectively from the corner of the bucket. It just redistributes itself evenly. And the same thing happens with your body. So if your body stores fat everywhere, then how do we actually get to the point where the love handles are reduced? For a lot of guys, the love handles and the lower abs are really the last place to go when it comes to losing body fat. So you're gonna have to pass through varying levels of leanness, losing the fat from your arms, losing the fat from your chest, losing probably some fat from your face, your thighs, your butt, and lastly, the lower abs and the love handles will continue to go. You just need to keep getting lean enough in order to get there. But if it's just as simple as losing more and more body fat until it all goes away, then how come so many guys struggle with it? I'm gonna keep it real with you here. Losing fat is difficult. It's very, very simple, but that does not mean that it's easy. You maybe just underestimated how much work goes into losing the amount of fat that you need to lose. Maybe you thought you needed to lose just 5 or 10 pounds in order to lose your love handles, but it's more like 25 or 35 pounds that need to go. And maybe you thought that losing that 20 or 30 pounds would take you just a month or two, when in reality, it could take you 4 or 5 or 6 months because of some things you needed to learn along the way. Or maybe you lost a few pounds and you were making really good progress until something came up, life got busy, you moved, you got a new job, you had a kid, or something happened, and you ended up sliding back into your old ways, gaining the weight back, and just never had the chance to really get back at it. Which reminds me of this awesome quote I heard the other day. If you stumble at the beginning of a 100-meter sprint, you are sure to lose, but if you stumble at the beginning of a marathon, you still have time to make it up. What matters most is which race you're running. And by every account, losing a good amount of body fat is a marathon and not a sprint. So if you fall off the wagon for a little bit, or you go off track on the weekend, or you get an injury, or life just happens, don't worry. There's always time for you to just come back to the process and start making progress again. No matter how long you've been off track, how much weight you've gained, or how far gone you feel like you are, just give yourself a break and allow yourself to start again and get back at it. In case you want a bit of a framework for how much weight you should aim to lose by what period of time, you can download my free weight loss calculator using the link in the description. It'll spit out a 6-month plan, letting you know which specific weight milestones you should aim to hit over the next 6 months or so. But here's the cool thing. Losing weight is not the only lever you can pull when it comes to improving your love handle situation. Isn't love handle such a funny term? I'm pretty sure it implies that someone is railing you from behind and holding onto your lower back fat. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%. Is that what it means? If you've been watching my videos for a little while, you know the emphasis I place on building and retaining as much muscle as possible throughout the weight loss process. And your abs and your love handles are not exempt to being improved visually through building muscle. The most obvious thing you can do is get bigger abs and bigger obliques. And some people might think that this creates a blocky waist appearance, but I would just strongly disagree. After my personal experience of building up my abs, getting them way bigger allows them to poke through and show more defined, even at higher body fat percentages. But if you don't believe me, because I'm just a pencil neck nerd, go check out a guy who fucking has enormous abs and obliques, Alec Blennis. Check him out on Instagram. I think he has a YouTube channel now too. And check out his side bend training and his sit-up training on the glute ham device. You'll see what I'm talking about. When you have big, meaty abs and obliques, it just improves the look of your entire waist overall. But it doesn't end there. There are 2 other muscle groups you can train in order to improve the appearance of your lower back, and those are firstly your spinal erectors, which are basically like the meaty cables that run alongside your spine on either side, which you can grow through squatting variations, deadlifting variations, and bent over rows. And as those get bigger, again, they just push up against the skin, even when you're a little bit fatter, and you see a little bit more definition there in the lower back. You can also get bigger lats, which are the big monkey muscle that lives on your upper back, attaching to your upper arm and inserting down near your waist. And when that muscle gets bigger as well, it pops out and pushes up against the skin. Even if you have a little extra fat on your love handles, the whole situation is going to look a lot more defined and just be visually tapered looking because of the width of your upper back. Obviously, you're trying to make your waist smaller. Why not make everything else around it bigger to make it appear smaller in comparison? That's why I let my pubes grow out for months on end. Just kidding. I need all the help I can get. Unfortunately, the fact of the matter is you will always store chunks of body fat in your lower back as love handles if you just never get lean enough overall. And that's where your nutrition comes in. So what should you do with your diet if you want to get rid of your love handles? Let's talk first about how much food you should be eating, because that's even more important than which particular individual foods you eat for weight loss. If you want easy mode, just multiply your body weight in pounds by 10 and 12 to give yourself a range of how many calories you should be eating each day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then the bottom end of how many calories you want to eat each day is roughly 2,000 calories, at least to start. And you can eat all the way up to 2,400 calories per day. If you want to set a protein goal for bonus points, you can do that too, but honestly, just tracking your calories to start is a great place to be. And as long as you're not eating an extremely low fat or low carb diet, and you just eat like a mostly normal person, then there's really no need to track your individual macros either. But what should you do if you have a fast or a slow metabolism? The exact number of calories you burn each day can vary largely person to person, depending on your height, your genetics, your age, your activity levels. And if you want a more in-depth explanation of how I'd actually adjust your calorie targets day to day and week to week based on your progress, then go check out this video right here where I go deep dive on that. Okay, so which foods are best to eat for losing fat? As far as specific foods go, there are no individual foods that you need to be avoiding or including in your diet to lose fat. Getting your total daily calorie intake under control will help you do that no matter what you eat. However, big caveat here, eating mostly whole, minimally processed foods like fruits, veggies, lean meats, whole grains, low-fat dairy, seeds and nut butters, that stuff is gonna make it so much easier for you to stick to your diet and make this whole process a lot smoother for you. You'll have more energy each day, and you're just gonna have way less cravings for other food because you're gonna be stuffed on broccoli, steak, and potatoes. So how much weight should you actually aim to lose? Well, a good goal for fat loss would be to aim to lose 5 to 10% of your total body weight over the next 3 to 4 months, or something like 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight each week. If you're 200 pounds, that's 1 to 2 pounds of body fat every single week you're looking to lose. But if you're training smart and hard for muscle growth, as I outlined in last week's video, then you might find that you're looking better every single week and the scale isn't moving the way you want it to. That's why I recommend taking monthly progress pictures and body measurements to give you an added data point that confirms you are moving in the right direction. These little non-scale victories also give you an added boost of motivation that you would otherwise be missing out on if you didn't know about. But here's the unfortunate truth. You might find that after losing 5, 15, or even 25 pounds that you're obviously getting leaner and things are looking better, but you still haven't completely lost your lower back fat. In order to help you fully understand this, I'm going to use a famous economics analogy. Imagine there's a river flowing through your town, and we want to figure out how much money we can spend to clean out this river. So we want to find out how important it is to the people. We put out a poll and we get people to vote on how clean they want the river to be and how polluted they're comfortable letting it be. All the votes come back, and sure enough, people want the river to be 100% clean, or at least that's what they say. They're comfortable with zero pollution. But that's not really what they want, is it? Because in order to remove all the major pollution in the river, like grocery carts people have dumped in there and an old car that somehow fell in there, that's easy. We can easily bring those big things out with a simple project. So taking them out is cheap and very cost effective. So maybe we get the river 85% clean by just picking out the massive pieces of construction debris that are floating. But getting the river from 85% clean to 95% clean is a whole other game. There's a lot more expenses involved. Now we're talking about installing some kind of mesh or screen to filter the water. And we're only pulling out like small pieces of sediment or little pieces of plastic or debris that are floating in the river that are basically undetectable. Costs a shit ton of money, right? But going from 95 to 99% clean is even crazier. Now we're talking about a filtration plant and chemical treatments and all kinds of interventions that are over the top. And most people wouldn't even know the difference between 95 and 99% clean. And going from 99% clean to 99.9 or 100% clean is completely completely untenable. The cost would be exorbitant. We'd have to get the top scientists, and at the end of the day, it's practically just as clean as when it was 85% clean. The same situation applies with your body fat. Going from having big slabs of body fat in your love handles that hang over your belt like saddlebags down to just being a healthy body weight, 15-20% body fat, might not take all that much effort. You just gotta start eating vegetables, you gotta start working out a few days a week, and start going for walks. But there's still gonna be a little bit of lower back fat there. If you wanna keep pushing to reduce that lower back fat more and more and more, you have to be prepared to give larger and larger sacrifices for a marginally smaller relative result. And if you wanna completely eradicate your lower back fat, you are gonna have to get down to a level of body fat that's just untenable and unreasonable for most people, especially for men who tend to store a lot of body fat around their midsection genetically. A few weeks ago, I was around 10-12% body fat, and I still had a little bit of lower back fat that I could kind of pinch, a little love handle I could squeeze back there. Did it make sense for me to keep on pushing to get leaner and leaner to fully eradicate them? Hell no, I thought I looked dope and I was just ready to put on some more muscle and eat some food. And all this to say that I just encourage you to be realistic about what it is you want. Both in fitness and in life, you can't look at something someone has and honestly say that you want that thing unless you are willing to do a wholesale swap with their life and yours and take on board all the problems and difficulties that come along with whatever it is they've accomplished. You can't see a person who has $1 million business and say that you want that without being willing to take on the years of work that it took them to build it and the daily stress that it takes them to manage it. You also can't look at the person who's 10% body fat with shredded abs and a good amount of muscle and say that you want that if you're not willing to put in the years to build the muscle and then be meticulous with your food and your diet and your sleep and your lifestyle in order to actually get down to that body fat level. There are no solutions, only trade-offs. Start by finding a goal that seems like it makes sense to you and start working towards it. Inevitably, you're going to encounter difficulties and setbacks along the way, and you will start to find your guardrails of what is actually going to work for you long term. I hope this video simplified for you what it actually takes to lose that lower back fat, and I hope it helps you decide if it's even worth it for you in the first place. If you have any questions about this stuff, feel free to leave it in a comment below, and if you've successfully lost a good amount of fat, especially from your lower back, and you've learned some important things along the way, leave that in the comments below so we can help some other folks too. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so I can see you in the next one. Peace.